Now, in their new film, The Guardian, Kevin Costner and Ashton Kutcher spotlight the heroism of Coast Guard rescue teams. Recently, I sat down to chat with both stars about the film. It's the story of life and death on the high seas, and the brave men who rescue others at the risk of their own lives. In the new film, The Guardian, Kevin Costner plays Ben Randall, a veteran Coast Guard rescue swimmer facing the possible end of his career. Ashton Kutcher plays Jake Fisher, an eager but overly confident new recruit.
There's an instructor opening at ACE.
No, I'm not interested.
You can't always be the one in the water, Ben. I need you to train the next generation.
That guy who holds all them records, so you ought to let him know I'm about to knock his name off that board.
Maybe you should let him know yourself. He's standing in the back of the room.
Crook's going down. Go forward right 40. Crook is halfway down.
I'm hooking it in. We're only going to get one shot at this. I'm in. What do you call this?
Kevin, there's some pretty intense action sequences and swimming sequences in this film. How difficult was it for you to train for this film?
Well, no one likes to train, okay? At least if you come from my background. I mean, I don't even like going to the gym. I hate it. But I knew I had to because we were going to be asked to duplicate what's done out there, to mimic it, and be by ourselves, you know, in the dark, in the water, in the ocean, with the helicopter above us. So I knew that I couldn't just phone this in.
I'm a rescue swimmer, yes I
am! Being from the Midwest, Kutcher found his role even more challenging.
I couldn't really swim. I mean, I could get from one end of the pool to the other, but I kind of squeaked my way into the role by, yeah, I can swim. And so I knew I had some work to do. So I started about 8 months before we started the film, just training day in and day out. And by the time I got to boot camp, I really thought I had it licked.
But during training, both Kutcher and Costner gained a deeper respect for the real Coast Guard swimmers.
You know, when these guys do like the military triathlons, they always come in first. These rescue swimmers, their team always comes in first. They're in such good shape. It's silly.
Fish, why are you here, Fish?
I'm here to exceed your expectations, Senior Chief. I'm a rescue swimmer at heart, born, bred, and water-fed. Hoorah!
Wow, I bet you practiced that all morning.
To my way of thinking, the relationship between your character and Ashton's on screen is not too dissimilar from what happens off screen, in that you are the veteran actor with a lot of experience and he's the young up-and-coming actor. What was it like working with him and that dynamic together?
Well, he's a smart guy, you know, and it's like we know what the age difference is, and when I work with Sean Connery, you know, I don't care what it said on the call sheet. You know, I was going to make sure Sean Connery had his chair. And I think Ashton comes at this profession with the same respect for people who've gone before him, and he has a romantic view of it.
I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of these guys I look up to, and not very many of them actually fill that fantasy in your head, and Kevin does. I mean, he is that guy. That's who he is, and that's what makes him special.
As a young actor getting to work with a legend like Kevin Costner, that must have been a dream come true, but also I'd imagine it was an education in acting for you as well.
It was an education in acting. It was an education in humility. It was an education in how to treat people. How do you choose who to save?
I swim as fast and as hard as I can, for as long as I can. And the sea takes the rest.
You've recently had your hand and footprints put in Grauman's Chinese Theater. You've been in this business for a while. Was that still a thrill for you at that point?
It was. I considered that. I know that it's not something that changes the political landscape of America. It was a personal honor, a recognition by my own community, and I'm kind of there forever. And I've loved the names that are around me, and it's something that grows on me, and I feel good about it.
The romantic interaction between Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher that's resulted in a new role and outlook for Kutcher.
In recent interviews, you've made no secret about how much you're enjoying your personal growth, particularly in roles of being a stepdad. How are you enjoying that part of your life these days?
Being a parent is a great gift that only parents, only people that have kids in their life can understand. And you learn to love in a way that you've never known that you can. And I think, you know, in a reflection on one's work, when you have that source, it makes it very easy to ground that kind of love.